Right now, Lomo May wrapping up this morning, but does it really make a difference? A lawn expert weighing in.
The bill is passed.
And developing news, days before the U.S. defaults on its debt, a big bipartisan vote to move a compromise forward. Which way Wisconsin representatives voted?
And the heat is on. We're tracking some showers across Iowa. Will any of those showers creep into southern Wisconsin? We'll see coming up.
Good Thursday morning, everybody. Welcome to News 3 Now this morning. Thanks for waking up with us. I'm Leah Lynchide.
I'm Shane Hogan. Chris Stanford has the day off.
Kelly Slifka bringing you some more heat for your Thursday. It's going to stick around, continue to cause us some drought issues.
And literally stick around because it's going to turn a little bit stickier going into the next couple of days. You're going to notice that humidity creeping up today, going into tomorrow. The dew point temperature, and this is what we always consider when we're talking about humidity, is the dew point. Once it creeps above 60, you're going to start to notice that sticky feeling out there, and I think we'll get up close to 60 with that dew point later today. Right now, weather track, we've got a cluster of storms, and this has been ongoing the last few days across parts of the plains, moving through Iowa right now. A little bit of instability here in parts of Illinois and southern Wisconsin, and we can expect a few showers popping up, maybe a little bit sooner than yesterday. They occurred after 4 o'clock yesterday, maybe about 1 to 2 o'clock this afternoon here in southern parts of the state. Right now, 62. It is quiet this morning. 63 in Janesville, 65 in Monroe, 66 in the Dells. Temperatures in the upper 80s, close to 90. So we're going to continue that heat. And the spotty showers will continue this afternoon and also tomorrow. They're going to be fairly light and brief, but at least there is that chance. And it looks like it'll be dry this weekend going into next week, which is not good news for the impending drought that we're undergoing here in southern Wisconsin. Temperatures in the 60s this morning, quickly rising into the mid 80s. As we go between 1 and 2 o'clock, we are expecting some of these spotty showers developing. Not a whole lot of rain out of it, but you might get a brief cool down if you get one of these showers passing through going into the early evening. No problems on the roads this morning. Looking at partly cloudy skies. That'll continue through the afternoon with an isolated shower possible this evening. We'll take a look at that weekend forecast and see if there's any more significant rain in our forecast coming up.
Okay, Kelly, thank you very much. Let's take a live look now at the DNR's Wisconsin burn map. It has 58 of the state's 72 counties under a high risk for fire. That's up by 3 counties this morning compared to yesterday. Everywhere you see gray on this map, the DNR considers a protection area that requires a burn permit. That covers most of northern Wisconsin if you're headed up there this weekend, and some western counties in our area. Now, happening this morning, Kelly's been talking about it all morning. The new U.S. drought monitor drops at 7:30. That's going to give us a better idea of just how dry we are here in Wisconsin. Again, we are expecting drought conditions to worsen with such little rain in the forecast going into next week. Now, Kelly and the rest of our crew will be keeping track of that drought monitor along with any chances for rain that might pop up. You can follow along with real-time updates over on our First Warn Weather and Traffic app.
6:02, Madison's first year of Lomo May is officially in the books. But just how much does that initiative actually help pollinators? The campaign encourages people to mow only once or twice to increase the local pollinator population. But it turns out the scientific literature behind it is actually pretty thin. Experts say you're not doing enough for the environment just by skipping a chore that month. Instead, you should plant plants that flower all year and can take mowings.
Various clovers that flower at low heights of cut, other plants, different herbs that can flower at low heights of cut.
Another good reminder, letting your grass grow for a month and immediately cutting it is also not healthy for the lawn. Experts say you should keep your lawn at 3 to 3.5 inches year-round. That helps the grass grow deeper roots to be more drought resistant.
It's 6:03, developing news this morning. The debt ceiling compromise bill headed to the Senate after a late-night vote passing the House. Lawmakers have until Monday to get it to the president's desk before the U.S. runs out of money. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer is warning members of his chamber to be prepared for votes over the weekend. They're going to be working overtime. In the House, more Democrats supported the bill than Republicans. That angered some conservatives who opposed it.
Now Democrats have joined with McCarthy to pass bills. So there is a big reassessment of the coalition for power in the House.
I hope we can move the bill quickly here in the Senate and bring it to the president's desk as soon as possible.
Now some conservatives are questioning Speaker McCarthy's leadership and threatening to bring a motion to oust him up to the floor. Now, of Wisconsin's 8 U.S. representatives, 3 voted against the compromise, including Madison area Rep. Mark Pocan. In fact, both of Wisconsin's Democrats voted against it. Pocan joined by Gwen Moore, as well as Republican Tom Tiffany in opposing the deal. The other 5 reps, all Republicans, supported it.
Now, if this debt limit deal does indeed pass, people who have federal student loan debt will have to start making payments again. The Biden administration paused payments during the pandemic, and it's extended that pause 8 times. A provision in the debt ceiling agreement says the pause will end in late August, meaning 44 million people will have to resume payments. Student loan experts recommend people reach out to their loan servicer as soon as possible to make sure their next payment gets to the right place on time.
An update now. One of the 3 men charged in the death of 11-year-old Anissa Scott pleading guilty in court. Jerry Ward was arrested along with Perion Carrion and Andre Brown following the 2020 shooting on East Washington Avenue. Police say a man who was driving the vehicle Scott was in was the intended target. Scott was shot instead and later died. Ward pleaded guilty to reckless homicide as party to a crime. 2 other charges were dismissed against him. It was an emotional day in court for Anissa's family. Her mother, Ashley Royce, has been at most of the court dates for the 3 men charged in her daughter's killing. We heard from her for the first time yesterday.
I guess as far as the court case goes, yes, I do feel a little bit of closure. Obviously more when sentencing is over. But, I mean, it'll never be closed for me.
Anissa's family has pushed for stronger gun laws in the past, something her mom says she hopes will stop more families from having to go through something like this. Meanwhile, a sentencing date for Ward hasn't been set yet. The judge says it will likely be within the next few months.
Today marks the beginning of Pride Month, celebrating LGBTQ+ people. Governor Tony Evers will raise the pride flag over the east wing of the Capitol to mark the occasion. This comes as a broad push on the issue of trans athletes participating in women's sports continues across the U.S. So far, we haven't seen much of this discussion here in Wisconsin this session. That started back in January. That's something that Congressman Mark Pocan gives the state legislature credit for, as he's seen analogies drawn from other states.
Folks within the conservative movement throwing spaghetti on the wall, what can we use to scare people, because that's how they always do best. And the one that kind of stuck for them was, oh, trans. Most people don't know someone who's trans, therefore they're still a little bit afraid. Let's put those issues out there.
Pocan equated some of what he's seeing federally to rhetoric toward gay people a few decades ago. Earlier this year, we have seen some action on LGBTQ+ issues, with the state legislature blocking an Evers administration rule that would ban conversion therapy in Wisconsin. However, local bans still exist.
It is 6:07 on your Thursday. We have a special eye on education this morning. As the school year comes to a close, more schools are opening their doors and taking class outside.
It's a good time for that. Our Chris Stanford visited Oregon Middle School, where students are getting in touch with nature.
It's a peaceful morning in the woods behind Oregon Middle School for this 8th grade writing class. The assignment is to absorb their surroundings and write about what they see, hear, smell, and touch. This time of year, it's not easy to get them to stay focused, even for a few minutes.
Especially in May, for 8th grade students, they are not as dedicated to academics as they were maybe in September.
That's why the school brought in some visitors. Do you have a favorite goat?
Yeah, Cookie. He's running away, but Cookie. I like that he's always eating. Kind of resembles me.
Oregon Middle wants to use the woods behind the school more, and the goats help clear out the invasive plants. They also provide inspiration for students to write short stories and haiku.
The goats eat the leaves. They go nom, 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 nom. They are happy now.
Goats. Greedy, offspring, always peeing, and terrific.
And I drew a goat. That's my goat.
The goats don't just hang out with the English class. They inspire art students and help science classes learn about plants.
It gives us a reason to be out here and helps us focus on different parts of the environment more.
Meantime, the goats will be focused on lunch. In Oregon, Chris Stanford, News 3 Now.
Now, the school district is basically renting the goats from a local farm. They're using grant money to pay for it.
I mean, I'll take a goat over class any day.
Yeah, right? Get outside, maybe pet it a little bit, get to learn more about it. But yeah, anything's better, especially this time of year, being in a hot classroom, right?
Love that they're trying to use the woods behind the school more.
Absolutely. Learn a little bit, something new.
6:09 now. Coming up in sports, new details released on the Wisconsin football schedule when you can watch the Badgers this upcoming season.
Chris is hanging out with goats. I'm hanging out with Kenny the calf out here on the concourse of the Wisconsin State Capitol this morning. We're going to be talking about that event and other weekend at the 608 coming up.
You're watching News 3 Now this morning.
Welcome back. It's almost the weekend in the 608. The first weekend in June, it's going to be a busy one across southern Wisconsin.
That's right. Our Josh Sprider is live in downtown Madison with a look ahead of some of the events taking over town. Hey, Josh.
Good morning, guys. Look at this. Just hanging out with Kenny the calf in downtown. No big deal here on a Thursday morning as we're talking about the weekend in the 608. And we have a lot of events to talk about, including why Kenny is here, of course. We're talking about Cows on the Concourse that is returning to downtown right off the Capitol Square this coming Saturday. So we're going to meet Kenny coming up in a little bit. But, you know, if you haven't ever been to Cows on the Concourse, here's some video to show you a little bit about what this event is, because this is such an important way to really see why our farmers are so important here in Wisconsin. This free family-friendly event themed Who Let the Cows Out kicks off the Dairy Month celebrations here in Dane County. The event will take place right off of the Capitol on Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard from 8 until 1 on Saturday. Cows on the Concourse gives community members the unique opportunity to get close to Wisconsin dairy cows and calves right in the heart of downtown. And speaking of Dairy Month, the Iowa County Breakfast on the Farm is also set for Saturday at Arena Cheese, so check that out as well. Along with Dairy Month, today also marks the start of Pride Month. Governor Evers and other area leaders will be raising the Progress Pride flag over the state capitol. Along with that, the annual Madison Pride Ride will be happening this weekend. Trek and Forward Madison FC are teaming up again to celebrate Pride Month and Bike Week. Bikers are asked to meet at Bree Stevens Field at 3:30 on Saturday, where they'll head out on a bike ride to Olin Park and back, and then stick around to watch the Mingos take on Central Valley that evening. Also happening this weekend, the Cars on State Classic Car Show is returning to downtown Madison for the first time since 2019. This event is scheduled for Saturday, where you'll see classic vehicles lining 6 blocks of State Street. It's a chance for event goers to be able to talk to car owners about their vehicles. And finally, Madison's famous attic sale is set for Friday and Saturday at Kiva Sports Center in Middleton. This mega resale event is orchestrated by the Attic Angel Association. Now in its 63rd year, the sale features gently used furniture, artwork, jewelry, household and kitchen items, linens, toys, and sporting goods. Proceeds benefit children and seniors in Dane County. I'll be live there tomorrow morning with more in the 608. So be sure to watch News 3 Now this morning on Friday. But first here this morning, back out here live with Kenny the calf, just enjoying the sights of the state capitol on a very mild Thursday morning. So a little bit about Kenny. Kenny was born just last night, so just hours old here. And you're going to be able to see Kenny and other calves, other cows right out here on Martin Luther King Boulevard coming up on Saturday. So just a wonderful event here, guys, to be able to showcase good things that we have going on here for our dairy farms, and really for them to be able to bring them to the city is pretty amazing, giving us a look inside at some of the cows. So Kenny, just enjoying life out here, guys.
Chilling.
I mean, who wouldn't want to enjoy life right here by the state capitol?
Yeah, I'm sold. I want to go Saturday. I want to go see little Kenny and all his pals.
What a city cow. He's just so chill.
City cow, chilling out on the grass.
This is life. Josh Sprider, thank you very much.
Remember, you can let Josh know what is happening in the 608. You can reach out on email or social media for a chance to be featured.
6:16, Kelly Slifka is making sure we have a nice weekend for Cows on the Concourse. All the stuff happening in the 608.
Yeah, Kenny only 12 hours old, and he's already making his television debut. Amazing. But, yeah, looking great for the Cows on the Concourse this weekend. It's going to be a little bit warm, but we can deal with it. Just need the sunscreen this weekend, because we are expecting quite a bit of sun, and we have quite a bit of sunshine this morning as well as the sun's coming up. But we are tracking a couple of showers and thunderstorms. One cluster is over Des Moines, Iowa. That one's not going to make it into southern Wisconsin, but there are some showers over northern Illinois. This is a little bit of instability that's going to come in from the south that may trigger a couple of showers developing this afternoon. Now, they're not going to be widespread. It's not going to even make a dent in the dry conditions that we have, but it may actually bring in some cooler temperatures, at least temporarily this afternoon, if you get one of these showers passing nearby. Unfortunately, it looks like the dry conditions are going to continue over the next 6 to 10 days, so that'll carry us through much of next week, and it's kind of in the same areas right over the Great Lakes states. We do have a couple of shower chances today and also again tomorrow afternoon, but look at the future track rainfall amounts that we're expecting. Most locations, even if you do see a shower, probably less than 1/10 of an inch. Maybe lucky enough to get 1/4 of an inch, but that would be pretty isolated going forward. Either way, it's going to be a hot weekend. Temperatures in the upper 80s, close to 90. The heat index, though, the next couple of days, 90 to 94. The dry conditions are going to continue to get worse. We're getting up to 88 today. That's way above our average, which now is 75. Right now, we're starting out at 62, 64 in Janesville. Across Dane County, 63 right now in Sun Prairie and Cottage Grove. Right now, Perry sitting at 65, Mount Horeb at 66. Looking at the chances of rain today, developing 1, 2 o'clock, maybe a few showers popping up as we get in the upper 80s. If you get one of these showers passing through, it'll drop temperatures pretty quickly going into the evening. Another chance of a shower or two popping up going into tomorrow, but I don't think we'll see much. So temperatures up close to 90. The heat index, once again, in the low to mid-90s the next few days into the weekend. Weekend looks dry, but hot, upper 80s to around 90. Cold front drops our temperatures a little bit by Tuesday of next week.
We are just about 3 months away from a new chapter in Wisconsin football, the Luke Fickell era. And today we found out when we can watch these highly anticipated games. Bucky's September 2nd season opener with Buffalo will kick off at 2:30 before a night game at Washington State week 2 at 6:30. First morning game of the year will be at 11 a.m. when they host Georgia Southern. That's before their Big Ten opener at Purdue in week 4. After their bye week, the Badgers' homecoming game against Rutgers will either be at 11 a.m. or in the early afternoon. After going 18-9 in the month of April, the Brewers had a May to forget. The Crew were 10-16 this month entering Wednesday's game in Toronto, and after losing 4 of their last 5, they need this one to enter June on a high note. Abraham Toro got the call up from AAA and made his Brewers debut tonight. Provides the immediate spark. A wall scraper gets out of here. That scores 2 to put Milwaukee up 2-0 in the first. And somebody please get that man some cheese. Let's skip to the 7th where the Brewers lead 2-1. And there's Owen Miller, the Wisconsin native, ropes a 2-bagger to left. That would double the Brewers' run total, and they'd hold on to win up north 4-2 the final. And the Madison Mallards were back in action on Wednesday, playing host to the Fond du Lac Dock Spiders of the Duck Pond. Behind a 5-run second inning and a 3-hit night from Jackson Chatterton, the Lards won 9-4, advancing to a 2-1 record on the young season. That's your Thursday morning sports fix. Have a fantastic day.
All right, Andrew, thank you very much. Coming up, privacy concerns over popular products that you might own, why you might be entitled to some money.
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Channel 3000 Plus. Watch from your streaming media player or mobile device.
Welcome back. We want to give you a peek at somebody's morning. Beautiful shot of azaleas. We learned that thanks to Kelly.
Yes, beautiful. I love all the colors in here. Really brightens you up.
And the great thing is they bloom very early. They're like one of the first things to bloom in the spring. So it's nice to see, even though sometimes there's snow on the ground, they're blooming.
Chris Stanford knows everything about birds. Kelly knows everything about flowers.
Really?
I mean,
we've already given him that certification that he's got it all down.
Well, he's got that bird guide now.
Yeah,
He's getting kind of cocky.
I'm usually in the booth saying.
You can pick out a cardinal just like anybody else.
Where's he going?
Turkey? He does really well with turkeys.
Good for you, Chris. We miss you today.
Hey, use the hashtag MyNews3Morning when you share your pictures on social media so we can find and share our favorites.
All right, take a look at this. If you use a Ring camera or other Alexa products, you might be entitled to some money. Here's why. Amazon is paying out millions in settlements with the Federal Trade Commission over privacy concerns. Now, in a court filing, the FTC says employees were given unfettered access to personal videos and failed to protect customer safety. The company settled the Ring-related suit for $5.8 million. The Amazon suit is well over $20 million. So, you know, this is just another good reminder that while this technology is great, you can keep an eye on those porch pirates with your Ring cameras. You also got to remember that, you know, it is technology nonetheless, and things can be listening to you, and privacy is a big concern in a lot of different realms right now. It's at the forefront of a lot of conversations. So just keep that in mind, you know, when you got your Alexa in your kitchen and you're talking about whatever.
Yeah, be careful, buddies.
It might be listening.
Do you guys have Ring or Alexas?
No, I do. I have a different camera.
Sure.
Webcam. So it does concern me. It's a cheap version, and it's from China. So my roommates are like, okay, careful where you put that thing.
Yeah, well, it's just a good reminder.
Yeah.
If the Ring video was Kenny the cow, I'd be
We
pretty
do have
happy about
Kenny
it.
behind
We've
us.
been looking at Kenny the cow all morning.
All right, Kelly, how about a quick weather?
Yeah, the temperature is going to climb, continuing up into the upper 80s today. Maybe a couple of showers developing after 2 o'clock into the early evening.
All right, thank you
There
very
he
much.
is.
We're checking back in with Kenny after this.
Right now, an update from this scene at a Quick Trip earlier this year. The officer who shot a homicide suspect barricaded inside, learning whether he'll face criminal charges.
I'm 60 years old. I can't go out here and compete with the 20 years old trying to find a new job.
Plus, a Wisconsin plant plans to close its doors, leaving hundreds without a job. We'll tell you where.
And here's your live look outside this morning. Your first look on your Thursday. We're cranking up the heat again across southern Wisconsin with some blue skies. Our first 90s coming this week, Kelly.
Yeah, we got up to 91 yesterday. We are tracking some rain off to our west. We can expect a few showers a little bit later on this afternoon. We'll talk about that heat and humidity coming up.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to News 3 Now this morning. Thanks for waking up with us. I'm Leah Lynchide.
I'm Shane Hogan in for Chris Stanford today.
I need another cup of coffee.
We all do today.
Ooh, hitting that mark in the morning.
Yeah.
But it's going to be a beautiful day. Turning up the heat.
Yeah, the humidity turning up. We got up to 91 yesterday, the official first day of 90-degree heat. We want some of this rain. We've had all the showers and storms that have been developing off to our west across parts of the plains. Unfortunately, this system has been weakening, but can't rule out a couple of showers. We've been watching a couple of showers develop here in northern Illinois. Some of these may creep into southern Wisconsin a little bit sooner than yesterday. Yesterday, they came in between 4 and 5 o'clock. A few of these showers, maybe a little bit sooner, but 1 to 2 o'clock expected around here. Temperatures right now are in the lower 60s here in Madison, 62, 66 in the Dells. Janesville currently at 64, cranking up the heat close to 90 through the weekend before a cold front arrives. And then we're looking at some spotty showers today and tomorrow, not going to alleviate the dry conditions we've been enduring for the past month or so. Looking at that dry conditions to continue for much of next week, even though we do have a few possibilities of showers. And some of these coming in as we go toward 1 or 2 o'clock, seeing some of these pop up with the heating of the afternoon, headed into the upper 80s. If you get one of these showers passing nearby, that may drop the temperature a little bit going into the afternoon or evening if you have the kids have a soccer match or maybe you have a league ball game today. Temperatures may cool off a little bit if a passing shower moves through, but they'll be isolated. Already by the noon hour, headed into the mid-80s with partly sunny skies this morning. Take a look at the weekend forecast and if there's any good chance of rain over the next 10 days coming up.
All right, Kelly, thank you very much. Some of those showers possible tomorrow, but it's not likely to break up this current dry spell. Later this morning, the U.S. Drought Monitor will be released, and with most of Wisconsin not seeing an inch of rain in the last month, we could be on it here in Wisconsin. Now, this video showing the fields of Kansas as farmers are in their third year of drought. The U.S. Drought Monitor from last week shows Oklahoma, Kansas, and Nebraska in exceptional drought. That's just one level above extreme. And with that dry weather, here is a map showing the current fire risk conditions across Wisconsin. The very high risks you see up here in the northern part of the state, they have fallen but are still at 58 counties in the high risk category. Parts of Iowa, Sauk, Richland, Columbia, and Crawford counties have burn permit restrictions for today. For more information, you can head over to the DNR's website. And you can stay on top of changing conditions by downloading the First Warn Weather app. Just search for WISC Weather in your app store.
6:33, an update now. A man accused of shooting and wounding another man on Madison's east side last year will spend the next 5 years in prison. Cameron Barber Smith was arrested after police say he went to a house and shot a 21-year-old who was standing out on his balcony. Barber Smith pleading guilty to 2 charges of recklessly endangering safety. The 5-year prison sentence will be followed by 5 years of extended supervision.
6:33, a Madison police officer who tried to arrest the homicide suspect at a Quick Trip earlier this year will not be held criminally liable for the suspect's death. On February 24th, dozens of officers responded to the Quick Trip after someone reported that Justin Kopmeyer had entered the store. Kottmeyer was wanted in a domestic-related homicide. The 39-year-old had just left the store before heading back inside when he saw the police, this time with a gun in his hand. Kottmeyer went into the restroom. An officer fired a single shot at him. Kottmeyer then barricaded himself inside the restroom, where police say they heard 2 gunshots before finding Kottmeyer dead.
Developing this morning, the worker strike at True Stage, formerly known as CUNA Mutual, is still ongoing. Strikers now ramping up their efforts. Yesterday, workers and supporters participated in a car caravan. Maybe you've seen these strikers out along Mineral Point Road here in Madison. They say they've been without a contract with True Stage for more than 400 days. Along with the strike, they're also filing several unfair labor practice charges against the company.
I am hopeful that we will see a resolution. I hope that it's sooner rather than later, but kind of depends on the company at this point. We're not the ones that are stalling and dragging our feet. That's on the company.
This is the first time in the history of CUNA Mutual and the union that there's been a strike.
Taking a live look this morning at Milwaukee, where employees at Master Lock are protesting, to keep their facility open. After being founded in Milwaukee more than 100 years ago, Master Lock will soon shut its doors, moving hundreds of jobs out of the city. Union members are desperate to save 350 manufacturing jobs in the heart of Milwaukee, saying it will devastate not just their families, but the community as a whole. Members of UAW Local 469 walked the picket line for several hours yesterday before gathering to make their voices heard. However, it still may not make a difference.
If Master Lock move, it's almost like death in the family to me, you know, and probably to my coworkers too.
I'm 60 years old. I can't go out here and compete with the 20 years old trying to find a new job, a new location.
It is spitting in the face of a community.
A Master Lock spokesperson says the company appreciates the impact closing will have on employees and the community. A statement reads, in part, our commitment is to work hard to minimize that impact. The Local 469 president says the union is trying to schedule a meeting with Master Lock for later today.
New information now out of Sauk Prairie, a community that's facing a childcare desert right now. There is a shortage of nearly 500 slots for kids under 5. But the area Chamber of Commerce has secured a $75,000 grant from the Wisconsin Department of Children and Families. The county now working toward a new learning center that would serve 100 kids. Could be built as soon as next summer. The Chamber is also using state and federal grants to prop up existing childcare providers. And Urban Triage commemorating the grand opening of its youth drop-in center here in Madison. That center is part of the organization's Unhoused Youth Initiative. It's going to support kids ages 17 to 24. The goal here is to provide resources and services to young people who might be experiencing homelessness or housing insecurity.
We want to create a space for youth where they can come without judgment, without stigma, and get the services and support that they need, including mental wellness.
The initiative is the first of its kind here in Dane County. All right, it's 6:37 on your Thursday. Let's take a live look outside. You're looking at the Union Terrace this morning.
Beautiful.
You can almost tell it's muggy out there.
Yes, you can. You're going to be needing there with some refreshments if you're going this weekend.
Refreshments, catch that breeze, maybe a hot dog or a brat too. Kelly's tracking how hot it's going to feel down there this afternoon and beyond. He's helping you plan out your weekend.
And some changes in who's having babies across the U.S. A look at the latest report on birth rates.
Plus, good morning, everyone. I'm Josh Breiter, live in the 608 this morning. We're kicking it with Kenny the Calf for Cows on the Concourse this weekend. We're talking about that and some other events coming up this weekend in the 608. Stick around.
You're watching News 3 Now this morning.
Welcome back. It is 6:40. The rate of teenagers giving birth has fallen to a historic low. The CDC analyzed birth certificates and found over 3.5 million children were born last year. Experts say the data highlights an ongoing shift in the age of those giving birth. The teen birth rate has been falling for more than 3 decades. Rates among Americans in their mid-30s and 40s having babies has increased, however. In fact, the birth rate for those over 45 exceeded 1 birth per 1,000 population for the first time in more than a decade.
A New York appeals court says members of the billionaire Sackler family will be protected from future lawsuits. The family and their company, Purdue Pharma, have been accused of helping to fuel the opioid crisis in the U.S. The ruling clears the way for a bankruptcy deal. In exchange for immunity, the Sacklers will personally pay up to $6 billion to help fight that ongoing opioid epidemic.
It is 6:42 on your Thursday. We've been talking about the heat all morning long, some drought conditions as well, but got to keep an eye on those temps today.
I have to say, I do love the sunrises that come with the heat. They're a little hazy, beautiful colors out there.
That's right. Kelly Slifka is out on the weather patio this morning, keeping an eye on all things weather. Hey, Kelly.
Yeah, good morning, guys. I almost need to take this coat off because it's been warming up fairly quickly already this morning. And as you mentioned, there's a little bit more humidity. It's not oppressive by any means, but we were very dry early this week. We had humidities less than 20%. Now that humidity is starting to come up as the dew point temperature gets a little bit closer to 60. We'll talk more about that coming up. We are tracking some showers. There's a cluster of storms near Des Moines, Iowa right now. Also, we have a few showers in northern Illinois. Some of these creeping northward. A little bit of a disturbance creeping into southern Wisconsin. May pop a few showers a little bit sooner than what we saw yesterday. They occurred between 4 and 5 o'clock yesterday. These may occur between 1 and 2 o'clock here in southern Wisconsin. We're not expecting a whole lot of rain out of it, but it may actually prevent us from getting up to 90. Boy, do we need some rain. The month of May was very dry, only 87 1/100ths of an inch of rain. And typically May is a fairly wet month. In fact, we typically see over 4 inches of rain, so the deficit 3 1/4. We need rain, but unfortunately it does not look great over the next 6 to 10 days. Much of the Great Lakes states expected below average precipitation. Temperatures today, upper 80s, near 90 tomorrow into Saturday. That'll continue throughout the weekend. Now, with that humidity coming up, the heat index, what it feels like, will be the low to mid 90s. It looks like that dry conditions will continue to get worse. We're talking about the dew points. We're at 59 right now. We're getting closer to where you start to, well, we notice it now, but you're going to start to feel a little bit more sticky as we get into low 60s this afternoon. Starting to see the mid 60s where it's feeling quite uncomfortable out to parts of Iowa. But it will be noticeable this morning and feeling a little bit sticky going into the afternoon as that dew point continues to climb. 62 in Madison, 64 in Janesville right now across Dane County, 68 already in Sauk City, Cross Plains at 66, 64 in Belleville. Temperatures in the 70s this morning quickly rising through the 80s. 1, 2 o'clock, we'll see some of these showers popping up going into the heating of the afternoon. Now, if you get one of these showers or a nearby shower, you might get a little bit of a wind that'll cool us off a little bit. If you have a soccer game with the kids later this afternoon, maybe a league baseball game or softball game, temperatures may cool down at least a little bit going into the evening. Temperatures tomorrow morning starting off very mild, rising quickly through the 80s and a few showers or storms popping up. Once again, these are going to be fairly light. Any accumulation likely less than 1/4 of an inch. Most of us probably not even seeing them, except if you're going off to the west in parts of Grant County. All right, we have the possibility of a few showers today and also tomorrow. Once again, this is not going to alleviate any of the dry conditions because the amounts will be light and won't be widespread. 90 on Saturday, 87 Sunday. Cold front will drop our temperatures and humidity going into the beginning of next week, but I think that heat will return toward the end of next week once again.
All right, Kelly, we appreciate it. Thank you very much. 6:45, pretty decent weather for the weekend in the 608. First weekend in June, going to be a busy one across southern Wisconsin.
That's right. One of those events will be taking over downtown where Josh Breider is live this morning with a little furry pal. Hey, Josh.
Good morning, guys. Look at this. Totally normal for downtown Madison, isn't it? I'm hanging out with Penny the calf. We're talking about Cows on the Concourse that is back this coming weekend. So Penny was just born last night, so a brand new calf here. Sydney Flick is up early with us this morning. Sydney, good morning to you.
Good morning.
So tell us a little bit about Kenny. Give us some fast facts here.
Kenny was just born last night, like you said, on my family's farm just north of here, about a half hour. And he is out of his element down here. He's going to go back to the farm and get breakfast and go back to his normal routine.
Yeah, I can tell Kenny was liking my finger. Kenny's hungry. It's time for breakfast. You know, Cows on the Concourse, a big deal for, being June Dairy Month, too, the first day of the month. You know, why is this so important for our community?
Dairy is important for our community because it supports the state of Wisconsin. It's a huge part of our history, and there are so many families that are still involved doing it today.
Yeah, Cows on the Concourse, obviously very different. We're getting a lot of looks this morning being like, is that a cow? And it's like, yes, but that's the whole point, is you're trying to bring that to downtown and give that farm feel to the city.
Exactly. We want to bring cows downtown to the city city, so people that don't get out of the city much have the chance to meet a cow, maybe for their first time in real life.
Yeah, that is so cool. And this is happening on Saturday, so what do people need to know?
On Saturday, we'll be here from 8 to 1 on Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard, and we will have live cows, we will have grilled cheese, we'll have scavenger hunt, milk, and fun educational activities.
I think that's what's so cool is like it's such a well-rounded event because there are so many things that make dairy so important, whether it's from the cows to what they produce.
Yeah, and all of the jobs that are involved with it as well in this state.
So June Dairy Month obviously kicks off today. There are a lot of events that are coming up, including the Dane County Breakfast on the Farm, which is coming up next weekend. So if people are interested, where should they find more?
They can go to wisconsindairy.org and find dairy breakfasts all over the state throughout the month of June.
Very good. So you were mentioning, so obviously Kenny's from your family farm, but you have how many of these that are born every single day?
We average about 3 calves a day on our farm.
Wow. So that's a lot of cows.
It's a lot of cows, and it's fun. We love what we do. It's rewarding. It doesn't get old watching a new calf be born.
And this is obviously a family thing for you. You grew up there. I mean, this is such an important part of Wisconsin, and there are so many family farms out there.
Exactly. 95% of farms in Wisconsin are still family owned and operated.
So yeah, important to keep focusing on that. Cows on the Concourse this Saturday.
We hope to see you there.
Yes, oh my gosh. Busy morning out here, but nothing phases Kenny here, guys, as the city crews are getting the site all cleaned up for the weekend here. But Kenny's ready, Kenny's hungry. Look at this.
This poor cow must be traumatized by this cleaning crew.
Good thing he's got our own Josh Sprider out there keeping him nice and calm.
I try my best.
Yeah, you keep him nice and calm. All right, Josh, thank you as always.
Adorable. Hey, you're going to catch me out at Cows on the Concourse this weekend. Perfect opportunity, I think, for baby Zeke to meet a cow.
Perfect.
Make sure you let Josh know what inspires you in the 608. He's always looking for ideas to feature, especially this summer. Reach out to him on social media or shoot him an email for a chance to be featured.
All right, it's 6:48 coming up in the morning sprint. All the top headlines to get your Thursday started.
But first, if you have a little kid turning 3 soon, let us know so we can share their picture on TV, celebrate with them. Thanks for watching News 3 Now this morning. We'll be right back.
Sponsored by Three Bears Resort, Indoor Water Park and Conference Center in Warrens, Wisconsin.
6:52, time for the morning sprint.
We start with a yes vote to move the debt ceiling deal forward and avoid default.
Yeas are 314, the nays are 117. The bill is passed.
A late night vote in the House has the compromise bill now headed to the Senate this morning. House Speaker Kevin McCarthy says it's the largest cut and savings Congress has ever voted for. 3 Wisconsin representatives voted against it, Democrats Mark Pocan and Gwen Moore and Republican Tom Tiffany. The bill has to be on the president's desk by Monday to avoid a debt default.
The very high fire risks in northern Wisconsin have fallen, but 58 counties are still in a high-risk category. That includes Iowa, Sauk, Richland, Columbia, and Crawford counties. They have burn restrictions on for today. To find out more, you can head over to dnr.wi.gov. The U.S. Drought Monitor will also be released in just about 30 minutes. It's a possible drought classification coming our way here in Wisconsin.
A Madison police officer who tried to arrest a homicide suspect at a Quick Trip earlier this year will not be held criminally liable for the suspect's death. He was wanted in a domestic-related homicide. He locked himself inside a Quick Trip bathroom. The officer firing a single shot at him. Police say they then heard 2 more gunshots before finding the suspect dead.
Monona Grove High School is honoring a beloved tennis coach and teacher who died suddenly last year with a new mural. Check it out. In September, Charles Ping was coaching a tennis match before collapsing. Ping was an art teacher at the school, as well as the supervisor for the anime and Asian clubs. The mural depicting wings, they're filled with art pieces students sent in remembrance of Ping.
In Milwaukee, a drag racer is recovering from burns after a fiery crash outside the city limits. Take a look at this video. We also have a picture that's just shocking. A Memorial Day classic. In the race, the car flipped on its side and burst into flames. He says he can't wait to race again. Plans to be back at the same track for the 4th of July.
You live and you learn. Oof. Little Charlotte's Rescue in Stevens Point is helping veterans with PTSD by providing them with a companion animal free of adoption fees. The nonprofit has already connected half a dozen dogs with vets, bringing companionship and joy to their lives. Members are hoping to raise $20,000 for a new transport van to continue their mission.
In Milwaukee, a man awaiting trial for stealing a squad car is under arrest for committing the same crime again. As officers conducted a traffic stop, look at that, they saw a stolen squad car race by. The suspect hid in a gym but was shortly later arrested. Shorewood police are now reviewing their practices in light of the rash of those car thefts.
A Minnesota carpenter is using his woodworking skills to help rebuild the famous Notre Dame Cathedral in Paris. A fire tore off the roof 4 years ago. Remember that? Peter Henriksen now using medieval tools to rebuild the landmark. He says it would be faster using power tools, but he is paying tribute to the original builders. How cool is that,
Yeah.
Jinx?
All right, good morning. Coming up on 7 o'clock as we are looking at the hazy sunshine this morning, looking at our Queen Bee radio sky cam here from Platteville. A nice mild start to the morning. It's warming up quickly, 72 already in the Dells, and I'm sure this temperature in Madison will probably jump up closer to 70 as we get that update. Quickly rising through the 70s, 80s by the noon hour. Looking at a few showers popping up between 1 and 2 o'clock. These will be pretty isolated, but you may get a brief shower passing through, and it may actually drop temperatures a little bit later this afternoon or this evening if you get near one of these showers, as temperatures drop into the lower 80s by 7 o'clock. So as you plan your day, looking at the heat, the humidity will be up there. You can see a little bit of haze there on our sky cam. Temperatures in the mid to upper 80s this afternoon with an isolated possibility of a shower. Winds are still light out of the southeast at 5 to 10 miles an hour. Another possibility of a shower tomorrow. Not going to be a drought buster by any means. In fact, it's just going to get worse. Temperatures near 90 into the weekend, upper 80s on Sunday. Cold front drops our temperatures a little bit. Definitely noticing a drop in the humidity with those overnight lows in the 50s. Highs in the lower 80s, but I think that heat will return by Thursday and Friday of next week.
Okay, Kelly, thank you very much.
We've got another news and weather update coming in about 30 minutes, including that update on the droughts. Stay with us, folks.